Welcome to The Explainer and our daily stock updates. Today, we're diving into a market that is basically just playing a waiting game. After an incredible run, investors have kind of hit the brakes, and we're going to break down exactly what's going on. Okay, so let's get right into the numbers. The big indexes were, well, all over the place and mostly flat. You had the Dow down just a tiny bit, the S&P 500 didn't move an inch, and the Nasdaq managed to eke out a small gain. But look, don't mistake quiet for weakness. This is more like taking a breath at the very top, since we're sitting right near record highs after the market's best week since June.
You know, the real headline today isn't about what happened, but what everyone is anxiously waiting for. The entire market has its eyes glued on some huge inflation reports that are coming out this week. And frankly, those numbers could steer the ship for the rest of the month.
But that doesn't mean nothing was happening. While the big indexes were sleeping, one part of the market was absolutely wide awake and full of energy. Let's talk about the semiconductor sector. And you can really see it here. While the rest of the market was just kind of sitting on its hands, the chip space was on fire. We saw some really nice gains for the biggest names in the business. And it wasn't random. There were some very specific reasons each of these stocks was popping off, totally bucking the day's sleepy trend.
So what was lighting the fire? Well, if you dig in, you see NVIDIA and AMD reportedly making a deal with the government about selling certain chips to China. Then you had Intel jumping a solid 4.5% just on whispers of its CEO visiting the White House. And on top of that, Micron was up over 3% because they told Wall Street to expect even better profits.
So what's the big picture story behind all this? This quote from Micron's chief business officer, Sumit Sadana, just nails it. He's pointing straight at the insane demand coming from artificial intelligence. Basically, he's saying that as all these cool new AI tools come online, the need for powerful memory chips is just going to explode. That's a huge tailwind for the entire industry.
Okay, switching gears completely, let's look at the wilder side of the market. Because even on a flat day, there are always these pockets of speculation where things get interesting. And today, it was like two different parties happening at once. On one hand, you had that old energy coming back into the classic meme stocks, AMC and GameStop, with Kohl's getting a nice boost too. And then, on the other hand, crypto-related stocks were just ripping higher. We're talking about companies like Coinbase and big Bitcoin holders like MicroStrategy. And what was driving all that crypto buzz? Well, look no further than this number. Bitcoin itself shot up to almost $120,000. I mean, that is getting so close to its all-time high of just over 123K. And when the big dog moves like that, all the related stocks are going to run with it. But stocks are only part of the story, right? To really get the full feel for what the market's thinking, you got to look under the hood at things like commodities and what currencies are doing. They tell their own story. And looking at that wider picture, it is definitely a mixed bag. You've got gold taking a breather after hitting a record. Oil seems to be finding its footing after sliding for a bit. And at the same time, Treasury yields dipped, but the US dollar actually got stronger. There's no clear signal here, which just reinforces that feeling of uncertainty. The market is waiting. So, this quiet trading, these little pockets of excitement, the mixed signals from commodities, where is this all pointing? It's all leading up to one single massive event.
Everybody is laser-focused on tomorrow's release of the Consumer Price Index, the CPI. This is the big one. It's basically the economy's report card on inflation. It tells us how much the price of everyday stuff, from milk to gas, is going up or down. And why does this one number matter so much? Because the Federal Reserve is watching it like a hawk. This report will be a huge factor in whether they decide to cut interest rates or not. A high number might make them pump the brakes. A low number could give them the green light. And that decision trickles down to everything: your borrowing costs, company profits, and of course, stock prices. Which leaves us with the big multi-trillion-dollar question that every single investor is asking right now. Is this data going to be the fuel that sends this incredible rally even higher? Or is it going to be the bucket of cold water that stops it dead in its tracks? I guess we're all about to find out.